What is up, Nerf Nation? It's your boy Normatico, and I am here with a special blaster review. Today, it is my honor and my pleasure to introduce you to Hidolfr. Now, Hidolfr is the brainchild of one Hing Yip. Hing Yip has a store on Etsy where you can actually download the files for Hidolfr, as well as its brother, the Hidolfr Dual Stage, or Hidolfr DX. Hing Yip also is the creator of Greedy Wolf, which you've probably seen in announcements by Frontline Foam. Greedy Wolf is an attachment for Hidolfr or a standalone blaster that acts as a master key where you can launch 40 max shells. You can either use the ones that use green gas or the ones that are elastic powered. He will provide you a link where you can actually get the files for the elastic powered max shells. But yeah, let's discuss Hidolfr. Hidolfr itself, it is a brushed flywheel blaster that is full auto. Now, just to let you know, this blaster right now does come with several setups. The one that I'm holding in my hands is actually a 30.5mm crush cage that uses mini flywheels. Yes, that is correct. It uses worker hurricane flywheels or pulsar flywheels. You do get 3 crush options when you actually download the files. You get a 30.5, a 32.5, I believe, and a 33.5 crush cage. You can utilize the pulsar flywheels with this blaster. However, one thing that I noticed when I was trying to build this one is that the pulsar flywheels in the 30.5 crush cage will not work. Quite literally, you can barely fit a piece of paper between the edges of the flywheels because that is how tight of a fit that is, much less a dart. Now, I do want to go over a couple of things about this blaster because it is very special indeed. At least I've never seen one like this. You do have a charging handle. Now, there are charging handles out there in other blasters such as AEBs, but the way this one works is that you pull this back, there's an on-off switch, and now the blaster is ready to fire, which it does not have a battery in it, but you would hear the click, 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 click noise of the full auto. And then when you're ready to stop playing, you pull that back off, and it turns off. So it is an on-off switch for the battery power. Now, the question is, where is the battery? Because as you can see, it does have a long stock here, and you would think, oh, there's a battery in the buffer tube. No, there is not. The battery is actually held in the handrail right here. The hand guard is what the file is called. And the way you get it in and out, it is kind of a tight fit, I'll be honest with you, but I'm going to explain it to you right now. Because the best way to get the battery in my opinion, is that you twist off the muzzle brake right here, and you do have a couple of options for muzzle brakes as well as the actual barrel. And then that's going to reveal a little cavity in here. That is where your battery goes. In order to access that the best way, I attach the thumb screw here, or you could actually just use a bolt. But I'll be honest with you, this door just friction fits, and the battery is such a tight fit that, I'll be honest, you don't even have to have the door in here. You just pull out with that door, and then you can see where the XT30 wiring is. You pull that out, you put your battery in. Now, the creator did list a actual battery that you are supposed to use for this blaster. This is the Gen 3, whatever. You can get these off of Amazon. They're right around $16, I believe, or $24 for a 2-pack, maybe $30 for a 2-pack. And I'll be honest with you, with 720 mAh, you definitely want to get 2 batteries because if you're using this all day, you're going to have to do a battery swap. So in order to put the battery in, of course, you connect your XT30s. And then you just tuck your battery in here. Now, it does tuck in nicely, and it is very tight. As you can see, if you try to do it this way, it is way too tight. You do it vertically, and then you just tuck your wiring in. Let's push that all the way in. We put our battery door back in here. Of course, we want to make sure that the heat insert is on the right side. Missing thumb screw. Didn't want to lose that. All right, so then we just screw this back in. Now, technically, our blaster is ready to fire at this point in time because you do not need this for the blaster to work, but for aesthetic purposes, we're going to twist this cap back on, and it is just threaded like so. You want to make sure that you don't twist too hard because you will run the risk of breaking the actual plastic barrel from actual torque. Now, that is on there, and let's see if it's on and off. I have turned it on. Now it's off, as you can see. Now it's on. Now, the motor inside of here, it is a 720 RPM motor here. I believe it's called an N20 motor, and it gets you approximately 12 darts per second. Let's go ahead and actually test that out. Let's see how many clicks we hear. So as you can see, it is quite fast, and the performance is quite good on this blaster. Now, like I said, this one does have the Worker Hurricane flywheels, not the Pulsars, and it is a tight crush cage. Mine does have an actual tactical light on here that I attach myself. This is for nighttime games. Wow, that's going to be really bright. So that being said, not all blasters are going to look like this. Now, the file does come with a specific buttstock design for this blaster, which is this one right here, and it is an extendable buttstock. You do have a retaliator type spring in here, which helps it from going all the way in, and it's supposed to, in theory, help shoot the buttstock out. I will be honest with you, it's 3D printed, and it's very difficult to get it nice and smooth to actually extend that way, so you are going to actually have to pull out and push in with this buttstock. It's pretty comfortable. It does take quite a lot of pressure to actually push it in once it locks, because it does have a button here, and you push that, and that is what allows the rods to slide in and out. Now, if you did not want to do this option, you can actually just print out the buffer tube for it, and that way you can attach whatever stock that you would like. If I build another one of these, I might go ahead and do that, because not that I don't like the design that Hing Yip did with this, I just want to be able to customize it more. So there's that. Now, with this blaster, you can see that I've done quite a bit of AMS work on here. This blaster took me approximately about right around a week to print out, only because of the fact that some of these parts were rather large, and I wanted to make sure that it was just perfect. And also, if you want to see a more detailed review about these blasters and what these builds are like, at least what my quality is like, you can check out Gims Mods, and then Bots and Blasters. Wow, he's going to kill me for messing up his names. Bots and Blasters is actually going to be the recipient of one of these. He is actually the reason why I have this blaster. It's because he asked me, hey, Normatico, I know that you do 3D printed work, and I've seen some of your stuff. It's really sharp looking. Would you be able to print me a blaster? And I was like, yeah, sure. If you need me to print out some stuff for you, let me know. So then he actually reached out to me, was like, what about this one? And oddly enough, myself and Gims Mods had been talking, and we're like, man, that's a really cool looking blaster. Maybe we can actually get this file and print it out. And sure enough, we were like, well, now's the time to do it. So in one of my most ambitious projects, I actually had 3 of these printing at the same time. And yeah, so Hidolfr, this one here has a twin, which is actually more of a burgundy red with black. It looks really sharp. That one's going to Gims Mods. And then we have what some people are calling the Joker Hidolfr, which is an emerald translucent green with a very beautiful purple. Purple with green highlights, and some actual really cool blending colored PLA for the grips. So go ahead and actually subscribe to their channels so you can see their take on this blaster. But I don't want to ruin their fun, because this blaster is different than theirs, because they have a different crush cage than this one. So that being said, let's see what you can get with a 30.5mm crush cage and Worker Hurricane flywheels. Alright, so as you saw, this thing is pretty good for a Hurricane flywheel at 30.5. You have a successful 150 blaster. There was one shot that it was a bad dart, and it got into the 80s. Yeah, it was not the greatest dart. Whoops. So that being said, you have a solid 150 blaster here that is full auto. And I'll be honest with you, it is pretty comfortable. Now, the way that this one is printed out, just to let you know, in case you are ever interested in saying, hey, Normatico, I would like for you to make me a Hidolfr. I have actually spoken with the creator of the file itself. He would get 10% of whatever I sell it for, because honestly, I'm not about to cheap out anybody for money. Alternately, I believe after speaking with him that Phonedemic has the rights to print this out. But I will be honest with you, I do not trust anyone else's print quality anymore besides my own. That's because, yeah, I know that I print my stuff to last. What do I mean? Well, the actual creator of the file, he's like, oh, well, you should be good with like 3 to 5 layers of outer perimeter walls and 25 to 35% infill. And look, that's great. 3 to 5 layers is fantastic. Me, I want my blaster to hit like a brick. And in fact, Gims Mods will probably show you this when he shows you some of my builds that I've done for him. I use about 10 layers. So I actually use double the perimeter walls on this thing, and it is very heavy. I've actually had people that have been military trained hold this thing and be like, wow, this has actually got some really good weight to it, and it is perfectly balanced. It is balanced on the mag well. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it's a fantastic design. And the print quality on this one, again, I'm going to toot my own horn here. It came out looking really sharp. So I will tell you that this blaster, the parts to buy it all, you are going to spend a little bit of money because the hardware is not cheap. Now, if you chose to go with the Phoenix motors, which is what I did for this particular blaster, I actually opted in for Worker Phoenix, the upgrade motors, which were the 132 can size, and those get right around 72,000 max RPMs. That's what I went ahead and actually did with this blaster. So you can find those relatively inexpensively. I believe that Out of Darts has a pair of them for right around $15 for the motor set. And then you pay for the flywheels, of course. I believe the flywheels are probably more expensive than the motors are. So if you try to buy those Worker Phoenix motors outside of Out of Darts, you're going to be paying roughly around 30 bucks for them. They are on sale at Out of Darts right now, and they have been for quite a while. I think they're just trying to get rid of them. So there you have it. Now, when it comes to the rate of fire, 720, I said 12 darts per second. We got right around that. I mean, it was just a little over a second, and I dumped out 30 darts, as you can see, in rapid succession. The blaster itself, though, has one more feature, and I want to let you know about this. It does have an internal B-car. Now, the B-car file doesn't come with the blaster. You actually have 2 options. There is one that only has 2 bearings on each point, and then the one that has 4 bearings. So you're looking at a total of 16 versus 8 bearings. I have on this one the total of 8 bearings because of the fact that, I'll be honest with you, when I align my flywheels, they're pretty aligned, and you get some pretty good accuracy with the B-car. Essentially, once you hit a spot with that first dart, the other ones are going to go within about maybe 2 inches of where that dart hits, unless there's an issue with the dart itself, because, bad darts do happen. What I will warn you about with this blaster, having run it already one time, and having had a not quite catastrophic failure occur on the field with this blaster, and again, this is not a problem with the design of the blaster. I need to stress that right now. This is actually an almost flawless blaster for the most part. The issue that you're going to run into running this with a club dart atmosphere is that darts wear out over time. As we know, there's a reason why those of us who are part of Nerf clubs, we are constantly having to buy new darts to replenish the bins, and that is because eventually just wear and tear on those darts gets bad. You have people that have jam issues with the darts. They'll just throw the bad darts back in. The darts get dirty. The darts get all nasty. The foam gets really soft. Or you buy brand new Nitro Shot Plus darts, which, well, if you have any experience running a high crush flywheel blaster with the Nitro Shot Plus darts, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. Those darts, even though they are very accurate, have an issue with high crush flywheel builds. The issue, before you all decide to jump my shit, all of you Dart Zone fanboys out there, the issue with the Nitro Shot Plus darts is that they are not good for high crush flywheel builds. And no, I will tell you right now, even though they are pro blasters, you do not get the highest crush possible with the Dart Zone Pro flywheel blasters. That being said, the Nitro Shot Plus darts, they actually tend to, at a high enough crush, the heads will crush into where the dart body is at, and that causes a jam between the flywheels, which is what happened with me the other day. I had a very soft dart that got jammed up in here. I was running it without a B-car. Thankfully, it was without a B-car, because the dart itself, by the time it jammed up, it did not go straight. It curved upwards. Now, what happens is that with a full auto build, you have those darts that are just being spat out. As you saw, 12 darts a second. And I'm just holding them like, wait a minute, where's my dart going? Because I'm hearing the tick, 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 and I'm thinking, okay, the darts are about to come out. What was happening was that the darts were getting stuck inside of here. There's a little cave where the actual B car goes in, and they just got between the barrel and the actual hand grip, and it just caused a 12 dart pileup. When I actually opened it up by simply just removing these two, or I should say these 4 bolts, there's 2 on either side, I found a whole mess of darts. I was worried that the motors were going to burn out. Thankfully, they did not. But this is just a warning for those of you out there who like to do club play. Make sure that when you're using this blaster, you use relatively fresh darts. I will tell you that it does like the Dart Zone Max Rubies. It really enjoys the Ember darts. Surprisingly enough, Nerf Pro darts are actually really well for this blaster. And if they are fresh, as in I mean like you just opened up a box, you can toss in some Worker Heavies in here and it'll be great. The Worker Standard darts, they're hit or miss. I'll be honest with you. I've had a couple of them that really burnt out, but generally speaking, the fresher the dart is, the less likelihood is of that happening. And I'm probably going to say that that might be a flywheel issue as opposed to the blaster issue. Because upon closer inspection, when I actually took my jam out, I saw that the flywheels were just slightly, like maybe 1/8 of a millimeter, misaligned. I put it together at 2 o'clock in the morning, y'all. Excuse me. But that being said, it doesn't really show with the other darts, so maybe it is just a dart issue. We'll see. But yeah, there you have it. It is Hidolfr. You can buy the files, I believe, for right around $25. And when you do buy the files, the creator will actually send you access to a Figma file, which tells you the instructions on how to put the blaster together. It also does list on that file what parts you're going to need. Make sure that you read the entire instructions prior to ordering parts, or else you're going to have to order more parts afterwards, which is kind of why it took me so long to get this blaster ready, because of the fact that I had ordered parts from AliExpress, and, well, first of all, AliExpress takes forever, and by the time that those parts ordered and I was ready to put together, I was like, wait a minute, there's more that I had to order, so I had to wait a little bit longer. What would I change about this blaster? And this is just me talking here. AliExpress messed up when I ordered them. The creator actually put a link for an on-off switch, which was supposed to be lock-on, lock-off, depending on how many times you press it. And AliExpress, they changed the freaking listing. The listing went from a lock-on, lock-off switch to a dead man's trigger, which means that you have to press to hold it for the power to be on, release to get off. Boy, that's annoying, because the spring on that is so powerful that just by doing that and leaving it on, when that releases, the spring pushes up against it, and it just turns off. Yeah. I had to order a different part entirely, and it was not the same dimensions of this blaster, so I had to modify the file a little bit just to make it work, which then caused some more issues. If you do run this blaster and you run into a situation where you cannot get the exact on-off switch that's there, go ahead and actually reach out to me. I can give you the Amazon link where you can get the on-off switch that I utilized, and I can also tell you exactly how I modified the file so that you can actually fit that switch in here. Let's just say that there was a lot of Dremel work involved up here, and I mean, on the outside you can't tell that it's done, but the inside does have a little bit of Dremel in a little tunnel here that allows for the switch to fit in there, mainly because when you try to close the blaster afterwards, it is such a tight fit in there that if your switch is off by just a millimeter, you're not going to be able to close the blaster, and then when you try to close it all the way down, the full auto is not going to press because the switch pushes down into the plastic that is holding the full auto mechanism and causes it not to work. You'll rev the flywheels, just not the full auto. So there you have it. What I would make difference, honestly, the charging handle is a nice option. I would probably get rid of it. Only because of the fact that I'm the type of person that, you know what, on off, it's already there. You know, I don't care about the battery draining. It just let it be ready. You know, the other thing that I would change personally is that the battery compartment up here, it's very tight. You're very limited to just one battery type, and I've tried other batteries to try to see if I can make them fit in there, and it was just not having it. What I would have done, honestly, would have been change it, make it so that this battery, this tube right here, forget about the spring, cut a hole here, feed the wires from the back, slap the batteries in there, and that's it. Maybe if I did a buffer tube stock, I might actually go ahead and go back and do that because this literally just twists on and off. It's very much like an AEB, like the BK1S's buttstock. You just twist it off. It threads open. So there you have it. Those would be what I would make different. Yeah. All in all, I can tell you, though, that I'm very happy with this particular blaster. Not because I made it, but just because of the design itself. It's really comfortable to use. There have been people out there that have actually changed out the grip because of the ergonomics, which I can see why, because the solid plastic here, it's not the greatest, but it's not horrible. There are worse grips. So, yeah. All in all, not a bad blaster. Until next time, y'all, keep on blasting.